the happiness, or the pursuit of happiness, which I think is extremely important. I know it is extremely important, not only for Judaism, but for life itself. So this is going to be an interesting class. It's more, will help you, there'll be a lot of like psychology in there, and there's a lot of secular sources that I'm going to have. Okay, so anyways, the question, if you ask people, right, what do you want the most out of life? Right, so people will say different things, but the bottom line, they'll say money, they'll say family, they'll say children, they'll health, but what do they really want, underlining all of that, is inner happiness. They want to be happy. They think the money is going to get them the happiness, the children, the spouse, whatever it is that they think is going to get them happiness, that's why they have certain goals, because that's what they think is going to make them happy. So, the obvious question is are the people happy nowadays in the world? What do you think? So the majority of the people, while they're not clinically depressed, well, by the way, today we're going to be covering a variety of different topics because it's included in it. Besides happiness, it's also included depression, and it's also included emunah, which is faith in God, belief in God, faith in God, knowing that everything happens is for a purpose. So most people, while they are not, clinically depressed, if they're clinically depressed, they could be bedbound, which means they can't do anything. They're sick at home all day, and they can't get up. They barely eat. They're sleeping for like 20 hours a day. Depending on the level of depression, obviously. Even though most people are not on that level, I do feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, that everybody has a somewhat of a minor level of depression. It could be a down day or whatever it is. They call it Monday blues. They call it different things now, but it's all bottom line. It's depression, right? You don't want to go back to work. Monday blues. No, depression, right? Just man up and say what it is. So Besides that, there was an interesting study. We'll get to that study soon. When people are depressed, when people have a lot of stress, not only does it affect your psychological, health, it also affects your physical health. It relates into that. Now, if somebody is stressed, so right away they have high blood pressure. Well, it could lead to high blood pressure, heart disease, obesity, as well as diabetes. Right? These are all like sources not from the Torah. These I'm telling you sources right now from secular, doctor world. So then you have depression. Depression, loss of appetite, fatigue, muscle aches, headaches, backache, and both of these have a decrease in your immune system. Which means is if you have if your immune system is working on a low, excuse me, you have a much higher likelihood of getting an infection, getting sick. Those people that you can't eat this, they can't eat this. They're dairy-free, they're meat-free, they're gluten-free, they're life-free, they're happy-free, they're everything-free, right? They don't eat anything, they just eat carrots and cry, right? And this is how they live life. These people, why don't you eat these things? It's going to make me sick. I can't. Granted, you should refrain from eating certain things, but these people, they're just causing themselves these issues. It's all in their mind. Everything is going on in their mind. So, there was one time there was a psychology professor that she walked into a room of psychology, and she held up a cup of water, right? And she said, so when a psychology professor walks in, what do you think? You think it's going to be half full or half empty? So she said no. She says, how heavy is this? So one person said, 8 ounces, whatever, a pound, or I don't know. Everyone gave a different amount of how heavy they think it is. And she smiled and she says, it doesn't matter how heavy it is, it matters how long I hold it. I didn't ask you what the weight is, I asked how heavy it is. If I hold it for 1 minute, it's not so heavy. If I hold it for 5 minutes, it gets a little heavier. If I hold it for an hour, now it gets really heavy. If I hold it all day, I barely can lift it up. I just want to drop it because my arm's cramping. So there are many people that hold their stress, they hold their depression, they hold their bad thoughts. So if it's a passing by, if you're holding it, you can survive, you can live through. But if this is all you think about is your bad mood and your stress and everything that you're depressed with, then you're not going to be able to survive. You're not going to be able to go out anything until you drop that. There is another very interesting disease. It's called hypochondria, right? I don't know if you know what hypochondria are. The people that they are, if there's like an advertisement that they see, like, on the thing, do you have this like extremely rare disease, 1 in a billion people, only 7 people in the world have it, and they say like 3 symptoms and be like, I knew it, I knew that was me, right? These are people, they see everything, they read a WebMD all day, and they're sick with like 1,000 things. They go to the doctor, and the doctor says you're not sick. And they don't believe it, so they go to another doctor, and they go to another doctor, right? These people are obviously not living happy lives, right? They're stressed, and many times, they cause the issues on themselves. They think they have high blood pressure, so they go. The doctor takes the blood pressure is normal. Says, I don't believe you. Goes to another doctor, I have high blood pressure. They already start telling them, I have high blood pressure, I need this medication. They diagnose themselves, they come prepared. says here, please write this medication this amount of time per day. They do their research. These people don't live life. They don't have a happy life. They don't live a happy life. They bring, not only they don't have a happy life, they bring issues and depression upon themselves. They bring all these diseases also upon themselves. So there's something very interesting. Also, the Rabbi Lezer Papo in the Chesed Alafim, he writes that people that worry excessively about a certain thing can cause that issue to come to themselves, which means they'll worry about car accidents, whatever, and they're so scared every time they drive, and this is their obsession. They will result in putting themselves in a car accident. They'll put the bad thought into actual action. So the most, if you look at it, there's many studies done, the most prescribed medications and the most, so what I did a research with the most prescribed classifications of drugs, which means this, so you have different types of drug classifications. For example, you have high blood pressure, so it's not one pill for high blood pressure. You have 50 more or more pills of high blood pressure. You have diabetes, you have many options for diabetes. So that's a classification. Of those classifications, so the number one, I believe this is in America, is high cholesterol. People that have high cholesterol with 255 million prescriptions. Right? I think this is annually. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't write it down here, but I think it was 2010. This study was done. Number two was antidepressant. Right? By how much? What was the difference? So I said the high cholesterol was 255 million. The antidepressant was 253 million prescriptions. So you're off by 2 million to get to the number one spot of the number one prescribed drug in I think it's in America. If I'm not saying it might be in the world. Dr. Kelly Posner, an assistant professor at Columbia University of Physicians and Surgeons in New York City. The longest name, but whatever. So she said 25% of adults will have a major depressive episode sometime in their life. 25. You know what 25% is? That's 1 in every 4 people are expected to have a major depressive episode in their entire life. Right? So there's also something very interesting here. The American Psychological Association. Any psychologists over here? Anybody going for psychology? Really? The Jewish profession there. The men go for accounting, the women go for psychology or something, a therapist. So anyways, this is what they wrote. They wrote that the happiness that's promised in advance, right now we're so much, I would say, not electronically, but we're so sophisticated and technologically advanced that you would think it would bring a lot of ease and, to our lives, that we have a lot of, comfort. We should be happier. We should be happier from what we have. So they made a study they did compared to Americans in 1957, right? So you're looking at almost 60 years ago, right? Is that right, math? 1957? I can't think, whatever it is. Many years ago, okay?
Yeah, almost 60 years.
Mm-hmm. As of today, the life living as that day and living life today. Today we own twice as many cars. We eat out twice as often. I even think it's more than this, but okay, let's be on the rational side. We enjoy endless commodities that they didn't have. People have this. They never had this. To have a telephone in a house was amazing, right? Now you go a kid and a kid now will not understand that there's a telephone that has a wire. They won't understand. They're like, well, what is this? I don't understand. Forget about a rotary phone, right? That's out of the question. But look how far we went for what? For a few years, right? We have screens everywhere. We have the plumbing, the heat, the air conditioning. You walk in, everything is, you fly in a plane, right? You fly in a plane, you go from here, you know what it used to be to go from here to like Israel or something? Or here to Azerbaijan? I don't know how far it is. I'm assuming it's a little further than Israel, right? I may be wrong. But how long does that, you have to go on a ship, right? And then you have to go deal with all the diseases, all the storms, all the things for weeks, if not months, and then you finally get to your destination. Here, you could go to sleep. Most people would pop some sort of pills. They go to sleep, they wake up in a different country, right? And they complain, oh, it was a little bit bumpy, Oh my gosh, yeah. So, it was delayed by a half an hour. Delayed back then would be a few weeks. Here you're complaining about a half hour, right? So the question is, we should be happier than they used to be, right? It makes sense, right? We should be happier people than we used to be many years ago. And the answer is not only are we not happier, but we're more likely or a greater risk for depression. We're less happier, even though we're more affluential, we have so much going on for us, but we have more of a chance of being depressed nowadays than in the older days. And that makes you wonder, why? What's going on here? What are we doing wrong? It was Dr. David G. Myers. He says that I'm quoting, our becoming much better over the last 4 decades has not been accompanied by one iota of increased subjective well-being. Which means is no matter how much technologically advanced, we have an increase in our own happiness. The purpose that we set in life of most people, non-Jews, Jews, whatever it is, they want to be happy. But apparently we're not. We're working the wrong way, right? Because we're not getting anywhere this way. So, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? I'm sure you heard that before. If not, then welcome to America. This is in the Declaration of Independence, right? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So do you ever wonder, life, liberty, makes sense. Pursuit. Why are we pursuing happiness? Why shouldn't it be life, liberty, happiness? Why do we have to pursue it? This is what they wrote in the Declaration of Independence. It wasn't some guy, writing a shir, making a class, decided to, make a little extra. They wrote the pursuit of happiness. And the answer is because people are never happy in the now. They're always happy in the then. They'll be, I'll be happy when I get into the college that I want to. I'll be happy when I graduate college. It's usually in between. I'll be happy I'll pass this test. I'll be happy that I pass that test. I'll be happy I graduate this class. I'll be happy that I graduate from school. Right? And then you go into graduate school. I'll be happy when I graduate graduate school. And after that, when are you going to be happy? I'll be happy when I get a job. And then, you're going to be happy when I get the other job. Right? And then, you're going to be happy when you're going to get the other job. Because no one's ever happy in the job. Right? So that keeps on going. But then they say, no, you know what? I'm going to be happy when I get married. No. You get married, still not happy. I'm happy when I have kids, right? And then I'm gonna be happy when the kids go out of college, get out of the house. So I'm, in their college, and I have my peace and quiet. So what is it? You're always, I'm going to be happy then. I'm going to be happy then. That you're pursuing happiness that's never going to come to you. That's why you're not happy, because you're happy then. You're going to be happy when you achieve something. That's not happiness, right? You want to be happy right now. So there was I don't know if I said this story before. There was once a guy that he was, average Joe, great guy, nothing special, nothing bad. And one day he got into, he had a serious, heart, some sort of heart condition. He got into a heart attack. And he was rushed to the hospital and barely survived. He survived. They put him in the ICU, and eventually they put him in the step down, and then he's going out on the med-surg floor, and within a few weeks he's out. And he comes out, and his life completely changes around, right? Which is, logically so. You would think somebody has a near-death experience, they change their life. So all his friends, all his family expected something like that. But what they didn't expect is it to last. People usually don't, it doesn't usually last, the change. It usually goes, people usually live life like a wave. Yeah, they get inspiration, and it's great, and then, one rainy day. And then it goes back up, and then another rainy day. So, his many months, and he was still holding strong. He was still, becoming the great person that he was. So people asked him, they said, how is it? How do you do it? Like, what is your secret? Like, we know you went through a life-changing experience. We know all this happened, but how do you keep it up? So he answered, and he says, before I got sick, he said, I always wanted to be a better person. I wanted to be a better husband. I wanted to be a better father. I wanted to be a better son. I wanted to be better in business. I wanted to be better, closer to God. I always wanted to be better. But I didn't have time. I said, okay, I'll play with my son after I finish this deal. I'll take my wife out after I do this. I'll do this after that. I'll do this after that. I never got to anything. It ended up staying in the same line. He says, after I got out of the hospital, I realized that right now I have to live by 3 letters. And those 3 letters are N-O-W. I live life in the now. I don't live life then. I don't live life, I'll do it later, because I know there might not be a later. He says that's why I'm a changed man. I'm a changed man because I change every day. Every day, if I think I want to say I love you to my wife, I say I love you. Right? I'll call my parents and say I love you because I don't know if there's going to be a tomorrow. There is there's also something that's has to be mentioned, and I'm sure you heard of this saying: the grass is greener on the other side. What is that? The grass is always greener on the other side. Something about green grass across from you. Yeah. So, what is the idea by this? And here's a question I'll ask you: is it better? It's a famous question. Is it better to be miserably married, or single? Single is usually miserable. No one's happy miserable. So it's either single or miserably married.
Single.
Single is better?
Miserably
so,
married.
what?
Miserably married.
Why? Because you could always work it out?
See more potential.
Yeah. Okay. So, usually, you look at both of them. First of all, it's never...
miserably married, but it's still your zivug? Or like you married the wrong person?
You're getting deep now. Yeah, let's say you're zivug.
So, yeah, that.
So you look at it. Somebody who's single, you ask them this question. Not everybody, but generally they'll say better to be married. Somebody who's married says no, much better to be single. And that's what you look also at certain people. Let's not take the miserable. Say not so happily married, right? or just regular single, right? The single guy wants to get married, and he goes to the married guy, oh, you're so lucky you got married, and this, I'm already getting older, I'm still not married, and he goes all that. And the married guy says, what are you kidding about? Enjoy your single life. Enjoy it. You can do whatever you want, or whatever these people with great advice give. So they go and they say, the other person is always happier. This grass is green on the other side. That person is always happier. That means he always has a better life. This is the idea that if someone lives this life, I'll be happy then. The grass is green, there's on the other side. They're never going to be happy because they'll wait to be happy then, and that then will never come because by when that then comes, there's going to be another then. So there was once a guy that he was married for like 20 years or something, and his wife wakes up in the middle of the night and he's not in his bed. And so she's nervous, it's the middle of the night, where is he? So she goes outside of the bedroom, she says, lie downstairs. So she walks downstairs and she sees her husband sitting, drinking tea, and just staring at the wall. So she walks close to him and she sees he has a little tear falling down his eyes. So she's like, honey, is everything okay? And he's like, yeah. So she's like, what's wrong? It's the middle of the night, why are you up? So he said, remember, when you were 16 and we were dating, and your father caught us, and he put a shotgun to my face, and she's like, yeah, and he says, if you don't marry her, you're either going to marry her or you're going to go into prison for 20 years. So she's like, yeah, I remember, and she's like, oh, that's so sweet. And he's wiping away tears, and he's like, tonight I would have gotten out. Tonight I would have gotten out. They think what? That life would have been better. People that live life that way will never be happy, no matter their situation. You can have the best situation, you're not going to be happy. It was interesting. The New York Times, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this organization right. Gallup. Gallup is an organization that does statistical analysis and surveys. So very famous. So they asked them. He says, "Can you do a survey? Who's the happiest person in America?" Right? Interesting, right? So they gave him criteria. It has to be like that. The psychologists would say this would be a happier person. So they say somebody who is more older on not a young guy. Somebody who is I don't think he's the happiest person alive. Definitely not in the job that he wants to get into. So you have the age. You have material success. So they have to be making at least $120,000 and more. You have to be married. You have to have children. They gave certain criteria. They have to be a certain height, and they have to be a certain build, and very, very specific criteria. So they made a research throughout the entire, also spiritually, it has to be some sort of spiritual connection, which we'll speak about later. And they came up with that they found somebody. They found somebody who was the happiest person in America, right? This person was by the name of Alvin Wong, right? He lives in Hawaii. He's married. He's was like 69 years old. He happens to be a Chinese American, kosher observant Jew, right? I didn't even think that he was Jewish. Not only is he Jewish, he's observant. He's observant, right?
That's awesome.
And so they did all this research, and they call him up one day, and they say, "Listen, we're calling from yada whatever Gallup, whatever it is," and say, "You're selected as the happiest man in America." So they're like, "So are you happy?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm pretty happy, I guess." And they're like, "Oh, this guy is the happiest." And then he went on talk shows, and had a whole thing. You could search him up, Alvin Wong. So, you look at it. It's very interesting at the criteria that they had. It wasn't a multimillionaire. It wasn't some guy who has one-night stands every night. It wasn't some guy who snorts coke every so often, right? It wasn't some guy that does who knows what. It was a guy that's married, with children, spiritual, making X amount of money, and also was like living in a nice, weather place. I definitely agree with that. So, coming from New York, forget about it. So now, it's interesting that Rav Noach Weinberg, one of the founder of Aish HaTorah, he said that people think, it's my prerogative. If I want to be happy, I'll be happy. If I don't want to be happy, I won't be happy. And he's like, it's not, your happiness affects other people. Right? There's someone that comes in the room, and you're like, oh, this guy has a sour face. Every time you take him on a picnic, he's going to complain, or she's going to complain. Oh, there's so many flies, there was a fork, there was a napkins, there was a this, there was that, there was that. It ruins everybody's mood. No one smile and look at anybody else, though. Right? So, I say there's certain classes that I say there's one person who has an X amount of thing, specifically to the men class, right? There's one, let's say, I'll tell you what it was. It was, we were speaking about, modesty for men, which is worth the eyes, and above the belt type of topics. And I said there's one person that has a very high increase of sexual drive more than everybody else, right? And at that moment, everybody turns to one person in the class. And I was like, that's exactly what I did not want anybody to do. But, okay, so the idea is that when somebody's not happy, when someone's depressed, when someone's sad, it brings everybody else down. You have some guy that's always cheerful, always happy, he's like crazy, always in a good mood. Sometimes it's like too much because you didn't have your coffee in the morning. But after you have your coffee, you're like, okay, this is great. You enjoy that. You gain from that. So he says that it's not your right to be depressed or happy. It's your obligation for others to make sure that you're happy. So there's also a Gemara in Ketubot, page 111b, that says that it's better, Rabbi Yochanan says that it's better to give someone a smile than a glass of milk. Right? A person can gain more by you just smiling at him or her than giving them a glass of milk. So, okay, so now let's go through, even though I threw in some things that you could do to make yourself happy, we're going to go a little systematically of things that you could do in your life to make yourself happy. Right? We threw some things earlier, but now let's go. So the number one thing that a person should first of all not do, let's say someone comes in, is in a bad mood, right, and a girl's crying, right? Guys don't cry because, whatever, men, testosterone. Girls, well, let's say they're in a bad mood, so what do you say? The worst thing that you could say, hey, cheer up. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't think about that. You just got me out of my depressed state of mind. Thank you.
How do you get people out of place?
Right. So first step is smiling, right? But now, showing them all your teeth. Yeah. If you're happy, you'll make them happy. If you are a happy person, your surrounding will radiate happiness.
Also, sometimes it can be like annoying in their face. Not like being.
Like I don't like your face.
Not being annoyingly happy, but just being your happy self. Some people who are bitter or whatever, they can't. Like it doesn't make them happy; it just makes them annoyed at you more.
Right.
Like,
it's funny. You remind me of a story, but we'll have to continue. If we have time afterwards, I'll say it. It's
okay. So what do you do other than smoke?
So we'll go through it. We'll touch upon all those things. So there was once a rabbi. I heard this from Rav Mordechai Becker. I heard a few ideas from him, and I want to present some of them. So there was some rabbi by the name of Simcha Bunim Peshiskal or something. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it. But he said something like this. He said there was one time there was someone drowning, and the rabbi was nearby, but he couldn't do anything to save this person from drowning. So he told him, as this person, I don't think this person knew how to swim, and he was just waddling, and nobody could save him. And so the rabbi came over to him and says, when you get down there, tell the Leviathan hi. The Leviathan, I don't know if you're familiar with, is a huge fish, right, that lives all the way at the bottom of the ocean. And it says when Mashiach comes, people are going to, go and, whatever. It's a huge fish down at the bottom of the ocean, right? Too long to explain that. So, the rabbi says, tell the fish hi when you get down there. So suddenly this guy had this urge of power or whatever it is, and he started swimming and he made it to shore. So they asked the rabbi and they said, why did you tell him that? Like, why is that a joke? Are you sarcastic? What were you doing? So he said that, he said like this. He said there's a pasuk in Isaiah 55:12. It says, Ki b'simcha te'etzu. Literally, translation is, with joy you shall go forth. With joy you shall go out. So he says, I translate it a little bit different. I translate, Ki b'simcha, with joy, te'etzu, you could go out of any problem. If you have enough joy in your life, you can get out of any issues that you have. Any problems that you have in life, you can get out from those with happiness. He says, what I tried to do is I cracked a joke while he's, so he got this urge of happiness, and whatever it is, a little bit of a laugh, a chuckles, gave him a little energy. And this, there are people that, and here's an easy example to explain this. You have one late night that you're studying, you're, whatever it is that you're doing, you're working late, you go to sleep at 2 a.m., and you have to wake up 6 a.m. for back to work, back to school, whatever it is your life situation at this moment. And you go, you sleep for 4 hours, and you wake up, you're exhausted, you take like 4 cups of coffee, you start injecting yourself with coffee, you're trying to put a coffee everywhere, and suddenly you make yourself out to work, whatever it is. Now, imagine another scenario. You go out with somebody you really love. It could be a friend, a spouse, or whatever it is. And you go on vacation. And you spend the whole day hiking, and you're in like this Caribbean, or whatever, paradise, whatever it is that your heart desires. And you're there out to 2 a.m. And you have to wake up at 6 a.m. because you have another whole extravagant, tour going on the next day. When you wake up that next day, are you tired? You're usually not that tired. You're like, come on, let's go. You can barely sleep. Whoa, what's the difference? You slept the same amount of time. And the answer is even though there's a lot of different criteria at play, but it's inside. You are happy. You are so excited. It was more than happiness. It was excitement. When you have excitement in life, you have more energy. You're able to do more. You're able to accomplish more, right? You're able to. There are people that they can't walk 4 blocks without they're complaining and this and that. If they're on vacation, let's say you go to Venice. Venice, you can't go walk. You can't. You could walk. You can't really drive. There's nothing really that you could drive over there, right? You have to walk everywhere around over there, right? Somebody that walks there will walk for hours back and forth, right? They'll look at the little masks and they'll look at the little Italians and whatever that they'll enjoy and they'll walk for hours without a problem. And the answer is the state of mind. It's a state of mind that unfortunately people do not know how to use. So the next thing that you need to do to increase in your happiness, and this is extremely important, is express gratitude. Be thankful. We spoke about this a little bit last week, but when you're grateful, first of all, when you're grateful about something, you enjoy the product more, right? I'll give you an example. If you find something let's say, I don't know what, a dress, right? Let's say you find a dress that's worth like $5,000 and you found it for like $150, right? And you buy that and you wear that, do you enjoy it more if you bought it for $150 or would you enjoy it more if you spent $5,000 for it, right? I don't know, I'm speaking this is your territory, not mine, but just that if you find something and you got a great deal and you enjoy it more, hey, check out the price tag. You know how much I paid for it? It's a really Jewish thing. How much did it cost? How much did it cost? How much did I pay for it? Right, it depends. Yeah, right. We don't pay full price for nothing. Right? Everybody knows somebody does wholesale. Right? So how much we paid for this? So you enjoy something when you're more grateful for it. I was so lucky. I got it. It was the last one, and there's another. We fight with another woman. And I pulled over here and whatever. Right? So you're so happy. Why? With this product, because of the gratefulness that you had. If you're grateful, even if you didn't get something, you paid full price. Right? God forbid you did pay something full price. So you enjoy that item. Be grateful that you have it, right? And the number one person entity we need to be grateful to is God. God forgave us anything. You will enjoy life if you're just a little bit more grateful. There's something called this is also incidentally is stingy people. Stingy people cannot go and part with their money, right? They have to keep everything for themselves. They can't part with money. The wife can't use their money. The kids can't. Nobody can use their money, right? Even if they have millions. Why? Because they feel that they don't have enough. If they feel they don't have enough, so they're not grateful for what they have, and hence they cannot share with anybody. They cannot give anybody anything because they feel like I don't have enough. I need this, and they're not happy with what they have. So there's something called hedonic adaptation, which means is that no matter how good you feel the euphoric state or whatever state of mind is, over a certain point in time, you will return to your baseline. And they made a study with lottery winners, and they put through their life cycle of the lottery, they realized that after 18 months, a lottery winner is the same level as happiness as the average person. 18 months, they could win, let's say, $100 million. It takes them 18 months, and they're back to regular, right? And regular usually means depressed, if you haven't missed the first part of the thing, right? Most America is depressed. So there's also, and here's also an example to explain this in a little bit, the hedonic adaptation. It's a really hot day. You were outside all day. You're burned to this, and you come home, and the air conditioning is on, right? So you sit in front of the air conditioning or the vent, and you sit there. You're like, you're enjoying the cool air, right? For 2 minutes, you're sitting there, just enjoying. Now, what happens if you go and you wait for 5 minutes? 2 minutes is great. It's awesome. After 5 minutes, not so comfortable anymore. After 10 minutes, you're getting a little cold. And after 15 minutes or 20 minutes, you want a blanket now, right? Now, what changed? It's the same air that was blowing out, but you adapted. You got used to being cool. You got used to being, and now you don't need it as much anymore. You got used to it. Here's an example. I am almost positive no one here ever went camping. Because really, oh wow, okay, I take it back.
No, not
impressive. I didn't think girls.
But
do
I
that
didn't
outside.
sleep. I didn't sit in the tent.
Oh, okay. No, I'm
So
talking
I
about.
don't think it counts because I was really scared.
Yeah.
I did everywhere.
Just walked into the woods.
No, I just stayed by the water until the sun came up.
Oh
So
wow.
you didn't go to sleep the whole night.
No, it's disgusting.
Yeah, I did the whole night.
So-
Someone comes and eats me.
Yeah. So now this.
Disgusting.
So I was right with my first assumption. All right. So I stick to it then. All right. So now, what happens if you go camping for a week, right? Imagine, God forbid, whatever. Imagine. So you go camping for a week, and then you go There's no running, I'm talking about real camping, where there's no running water, there's no showers, you're sleeping in a bag, which is in a larger bag, which is, next to somebody else who's also in a bag, right? And you're sitting over there and you're sleeping for a week, right? And you're enjoying, whatever moments that you have without, swatting all the flies away. And finally, after a week, you get home. And you take that first shower. How amazing is that shower going to be? You'll probably be in there for like 4 hours, and then you come out, you come back in again to make sure, right? And why is it that you enjoy that shower more than your just regular showers?
Appreciate it.
Exactly. You appreciate it.
People go away to get away.
They go away, but they take this with them. So they're basically taking their whole world with them in their pockets. Huh?
Yeah, but you don't always
If
have
they don't,
connection
then
there.
kudos to them. What?
You don't always have connection there. It's just like
I know, you need it.
it's just
Yeah.
another appliance.
It's so much so that I know people, let's say, for example, that keep Shabbat 100%, they don't have a cell phone, they don't have anything on them, but it's called phantom vibrations. Well, they'll suddenly, because they come to my house, I have my thing Friday night, I have a bunch of guys come to the house, and suddenly they'll be like, oh, it's Shabbat, maybe their leg was vibrating, I don't know what it was, but they thought that something is. You get so connected to this that even if it's not there, you feel like it's there, right? So, now
Can I say something? I'll say something.
absolutely.
I was thinking of two things. First of all, there's the concept of contrast. When you go from feeling very bad, whether it's a physical or something, and then you go to the other side, so there's this big contrast, and that contrast creates gratitude, right? So it can be a contrast in anything, emotional,
Absolutely.
physical.
Absolutely.
But then there's also the concept of expectation. I think like the pursuit of happiness, that was such a bad term to use because there's always this expectation. Do you know Rabbi Lamb, Labor Lamb?
Of course.
So he does a whole thing on expectation. Like he said, he would take his kids to the country and he say, to a hotel. Don't expect, there might not be bathrooms there. We might have to go to an out. He's going.
Put them lower, so therefore they'll
by the time the kids
shoot
get
for
there,
low. Yeah.
they say, Tati, there's a bathroom in the room, whatever.
Yeah.
But the whole idea of expectations sets you up for
It's true.
depression.
This is a big problem in marriage. A big problem in marriage, right? It can be a woman will go into marriage thinking, that's it, I don't have to work for the rest of my life. I have 3 maids. I'll sit back over there. They'll do anything, and then I'll live life for my rest of my life like a vegetable, right? That's a little bit. Do shopping, right? Which literally is what it is, right? We'll speak about a little bit when
Being
you don't
a
have.
mother is a job, though. Honestly.
It is. Trust me, I
It
know.
really is.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. But it's a little bit less of a job when you have a nanny,
That's
and
true.
so.
Yeah, well, obviously.
Yeah. So in any case, okay. So let's move on. So we're speaking about the camping. What happens is when people go and they camp, all of a sudden they appreciate something that they always had. And this is such an important mindset to have, is that people don't appreciate what you have. You don't appreciate what you have usually until it's lost, until it's gone, right? You don't appreciate how many times do you call someone that you love, you call your mother, you call your father, say, hey, I love you, and I thank you for everything that you did, right? And when do people say, oh, I wish I could do that, when they can't do that anymore? And the idea is that if you live life now, then you'll live the life, doing the things that you want to do, that when you can't do it, you'll appreciate that you did do it. Right? There's a problem that people always they don't appreciate what they have right now. So not only do you have to that's big stuff. You should appreciate little things. You should appreciate the fact that you have bottled water, right? For $1.50 a day in Africa, you can support a whole whatever it is, right? They don't have water. I don't know what $1.50 is going to do for them, but they all these. I mean, I don't know. They have running water. They have you see these. I remember when I was younger and I saw some commercials, you see see a little bald, little black kid, scrawny, he has flies landing on his face, there's another fly in his eye, it's like you guilt you for $1 a day, and then we're looking at this and we'll be like, oh, so sad. Switch the channel, there's something better on over there, right? No one pays anything, no one does anything. Not only that, they don't appreciate what they have. You don't appreciate it for a second. You know how many third world countries there are? You know how much poverty is in the world? And we're living in a country, Baruch Hashem, thank God, living in a country. Even if you don't have any money, even if you can't do anything, as long as you're legal, you can get, there's so many benefits that you can get. Housing, food, health insurance, everything.
Jobs.
You could live like a king didn't live in the olden days. Right? A king in the olden days did not have, how they would travel? They would travel with, horse and buggy. Right? Horse and buggy, if you ever, rode on a horse, it's not so comfortable. And if you ever rode on the back of a buggy, so there's no shocks, let's put it that way, right? The wheels just went, right? And it would bounce all over the place and everything. You're getting dizzy, getting headache, right? So what would a king have? A king would have a nice royal carriage, right? So it'll be cushioned, right? As opposed to now, you have people, even if you don't have a car, You can ride the train, you ride the subway. It's air conditioned. It's smooth, and it gets you place point A to point B so quickly. We don't appreciate any of that. This is the problem. This is why the lack of appreciation causes us our lack of own happiness. Okay, so I have to move on. Okay, so now the all right. Now I'm going to skip some things, but before there was once Rabbi Victor Miller, a very big rabbi, passed away a number of years ago. Somebody once came into his kitchen, one of his students, I believe it was, and he saw, imagine this, an older rabbi, elderly man, has a sink filled up with water, and his head dunked inside. Nobody's, by the way, holding him down. He's inside over there, and then, so someone walks in, and he sees this scenario. A rabbi dunked inside this thing, and he waits 30 seconds, like, wow, this rabbi could really hold his breath, and he's like nervous, is everything okay? And suddenly the rabbi comes up, and takes a deep breath of air. So, the wipes the water away from his beard, wipes himself down. The student says, Rabbi, what was up with that? So he says, I was walking with my colleague, this rabbi said, and my colleague was complaining how New York is so much full of pollution. It's so full of pollution, the air is not clear, the air is not clean, yada, yada, yada. So he said that, as I was walking away, I realized that I don't appreciate air as much as I used to. He put this thing in my head. So he said what I did is I put myself underwater that I can't breathe. And the second that I took that first breath, then I can remember, how much I appreciate that. Oh, now you appreciate breathing when you aren't able to breathe. So so the next thing is to get yourself happy is to increase in your act of kindness. They did once a study that the study was that they took somebody that was sick and they took they split up this group that all had the same disease, and they split up to 3 different sections. Now, one of them was just taking medications, no social interactions, nothing. The other one had social interactions with people, and the third one would be, not only did they have social interactions, but they helped other people. So they took them out, whatever it was that they did, right? And they rated them in the order of happiness. And the order of happiness was, the most happiest people were the ones that were helping other people. Not the ones that were receiving help, the ones that were giving help. Right? And then it went to the people that had some social interactions, and the people that didn't have any social interaction at all. So, it's interesting that the Super Bowl, right? So the Super Bowl, you know what an average price for a ticket to the Super Bowl costs? $4,500. I think the cheapest ticket was $3,300. $3,300, right? And the good tickets are about $25,000. $25,400, right? And if you want like a box suite or whatever those things are called, where you get your own little box, which just like sitting at home, just it's over there. So you pay $350,000 for the Super Bowl.
What?
Now you have people, men are crazy. So you have people that go and they'll spend $1,000 to fly to the place where the Super Bowl is. Go in the cold weather, sit outside till really late at night with snow and rain, it doesn't matter, and sit way up there for $3,500 just to be in a game. And you ask them, like, why are you doing that? Go to your home, you have a 60, and for the price that you pay just for the seat, you could have bought the biggest screen TV, right? There's whatever, highest edition, whatever, flat, whatever is going on now. Curved, whatever it is, right? You could have had the most amazing experience. Why did you come here? And not only that, you can't even see anything over here. In your house, you would have been more. You could have drank the beer that you want. You could have, sat next to the people that you want, not next to the smelly guy who was dancing with his shirt off, right? Because he tattooed his, thing, whatever his favorite team on him, right? Or you have all these, you could sit and relax. You go to the bathroom without waiting online and needing a high biohazard suit, right? Just to go in there. So, why do you do that? And he says, what are you talking about? Crazy? It's being a part of the whole team, screaming and and this and that and whatever. It's being part of something. Humans like to be part of something. The more that we became less socially, I don't know what the word active or whatever it is over the past few years. So what happened? Social media came in. Now everybody's everywhere, right? You have the whole person's life plastered all over the internet, right? But yeah, that person didn't get up from his bed for probably a week, right? But yet they could have also gone on vacations, by the way, right? It's very easy to Photoshop. They could have gone to vacations in that week, and they are still in bed, right? Everyone's very socially active now. So the idea is that we all need to be part of something, and in order to be part of something, to receive is not to be part of something, but it's rather to give. You go to the game to scream. Why are you screaming? They don't care about what you're screaming, right? The players pass by and everyone's screaming their names, and they say hi, and then someone touches them, and they go, I'm not going to watch the dance, right? They throw them the dirty shirt, forget about it, right? So my favorite man, my favorite team. This is ridiculous. Imagine some guy in the gym comes to you, throws off his dirty sweater, right? What do? You call cops. So this guy's, harassing, right? But yet, if you're in a, God forbid, not you, but a non-Jew is on a, concert with whatever, woman or whatever, yeah, and she goes and takes off whatever clothes that she possibly has on that's not already off, and she throws it in the crowd, and then somebody grabs it, right? What are you gonna do with that? Oh, they're going to cherish that. They're probably going to give this to the kids,
So
right?
They'll frame it.
They'll frame it, and they give it next to the wedding ring that they pass down from generation to generation, right? And the answer is because you want to be part of something. You want to be a part of something. In order to be a part of something, you have to give. You want to be in a good marriage, you give. You don't accept. You don't take. You accept. I'm sorry, but you don't want to take for that. You want to give. You want to be happier? Start giving more. The more you give, the happier you'll be. It just actually reminded me something about the last thing when we spoke about being grateful. Now, this, I can tell you for like time and time again, somebody goes and let's say collects money, and they come over to you and they say, can I have some charity? So you say no problem. You take out $1. You're feeling generous. You take out $5. You're feeling like a millionaire. You take out a 20, whatever it is in your mood, and you give them the money, right? Now, what happens if you give them the 5? And you open your wallet and you just happen to have a lot of bills in there, right? And they say maybe you could get a 10. Right? What do you want to do? You want to say, thank you very much, put it back, I'll see you later. Right? You get nothing. Right? That's what some people want to do. When they ask for more, you're like, what are you talking about? Why should I give you even more? You should be happy with what I gave you. I don't know you. I don't know owe for you anything, which is not a right attitude, but this is how some people think. Now, let's say another scenario. You go, there's this old little woman that comes, and she's collecting charity, and she goes, and you take out your wallet, you give her $5. And she sits there for the next 5 minutes, blessing the heavens, all the rabbis. He's bringing the whole heavens to you and blessing you. He's like, oh, you should be blessed, and you should be, you should and this, and you're married, you're not married, you have kids, you don't have kids. For like 5 minutes, she's giving you blessings, right? And you're like, amen, 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 And then finally, as you leave, you're like, oh, what a sweet lady. I should have gave her $10, right? You wanted to give her more. For somebody who's grateful, you want to do more for that person. If you have a child, let's say a child always says thank you, always says, and then they ask one time, hey, please, mommy, can I do it? And then, of course, you'll give it. But then you have another child who says, can I have this, can I have this? It usually stops with, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want that. What do you end up doing? You really don't want to give somebody that is not grateful. It says we have so much that we take from God, right? When was the last time that you went and said, thank you, God, for the life that I have? Thank you for the parents. Thank you for the house over the head. Thank you for the car. Thank you for the clothing. Thank you for the food. Thank you for the place. When was the last time you actually stopped and instead of going to God with a shopping list of what you needed and what you wanted, right? Most people, some people, why do they become religious? When bad things happen. Now I need God, right? Because maybe this, right? When was the last time that someone became religious, started keeping Shabbat? Because you know what, God? Thank you. Here's thank you for everything that you did for me. When was the last time that think about it, was the last time that you went outside and said thank you to God? I think it's so important. You have 5 fingers. Every day, no matter what it is, you could say thank you for 5. It could be the most simplest things. Thank you for this cup of water. Doesn't matter what it is. In fact, that's what we say. We say shachot. We make a blessing. We say thank you to God. Right? When you start saying thank you, God's going to be like, I just want to give you more. I keep on giving you more and more and more. And hence, also result in happiness. So, yeah.
So, what you said, like that when you give to others, it brings you happiness, it's completely true. I was wondering if you have like a Torah source for it.
Oh man, I realized I'm not even recording here.
Torah.
What? Torah source for giving?
The giving leads to happiness.
So, first of all, ahava, which is love. Ahava in Hebrew is love. The root for that is hav, which is to give. The root of love is to give. In Hebrew, the word ahava, the root of love is to give. And the source in Hebrew for a pasuk, I have to look it up. But I will go soon. We're going to go through certain psukim, God willing, that will have these ideas inside it.
But also the concept is when you imitate Hashem, which Hashem,
right.
The whole basic is giving.
Right.
Therefore, you're connecting to Hashem. That has to bring your happiness.
To find the source in that manner is very easy. But I'll tell you like this: this is the next one to really answer it a little bit. It's even a rule. This is what Rabbi Akiva says. Rabbi Akiva, which means in English translation, means there's a very big rule, important rule in the Torah: to love your friend like you love yourself. Right? You always want to give yourself. You always want to, you want to get stuff for yourself. Right? The rule is that you have to love your friend like you love yourself. Right? This is like an important. This is why, suicide, for example. Suicide. Why is suicide such a problem? In in the Jewish world, in the Jewish religion, if somebody commits suicide, you can't really bury him in a Jewish cemetery, right? It's considered as if he murdered, or she murdered herself, right? Now the question is why? They want to jump off, jump off. Go ahead, go and give us some encouragement. Why do we care? Why is it such a big problem that that person committed suicide? It's their own life. And the answer is that you have an obligation to love your neighbor, your friend, like yourself. If you don't love yourself, how are you going to love anybody else? And the problem is that many people nowadays don't love themselves. They don't have, and it could be a result of self-esteem issues. They're always criticizing themselves, or other people are always criticizing themselves, or whatever it is, and their self-esteem goes down. And if you don't love yourself, how are you going to expect to love anybody else? How do you expect to do anything for anybody else when you can't do anything for yourself? The rule is, and also this, by the way, by being more grateful for things that you have, you'll increase your self-esteem, because you realize, wow, look how much I have. Self-esteem comes from a lack of something, that you don't have anything. By realizing that you have gratitude, you are just suddenly going to open some doors that you never even realized were closed. You're going to realize how, not your ego, but your self-esteem is going to go way up in the roof. So the next thing is we still have some time, right? Yeah. Okay. The next thing is forgiveness, right? And if somebody holds a grudge, right? If somebody holds a grudge for no matter how long it is, that's already decreasing their happiness, right? Somebody walks in the room, and why are you upset? Because they didn't invite you last time you went to hang out. Or, she wore the same dress as you. I think that's a thing. I don't know if that's true, right? I don't know if that's you have like
not so much anymore.
Not so much. You have two guys that dress the same thing. What do they do? That awesome, high five, right? You go to like a fancy dinner or something like that, right? And there's or a wedding, right, where everybody has to have a dress that nobody ever seen before in their life, right? And they go and you see there's another girl in the distance that has the same dress as you, right? All of a sudden it's like Death War, World War II, right there going on, right? Who wore it better, right? I remember that those, So the idea is if you hold a grudge, then you're not going to be happy. And what do you gain by holding a grudge? No, you don't hurt anybody by yourself. The other person doesn't care.
But at the same time, if someone hurt, I'm not talking about little things like, oh, you didn't say hi to me. If someone hurt another to a large scale, maybe they don't have to hold a grudge, but at the same time, you're not gonna. I don't think it's healthy to fully accept them back, because
there's a difference of accepting them back and forgiving, forgetting and forgiving, moving on with your life. People hold on to the past too much, and by holding on too much, you stay in the past, right? Even if they did the worst thing, that's fine. That will happen then. You might not be friends with them or close with them, but the fact of holding a grudge or always hating that person hurts. It doesn't hurt her. It doesn't hurt him. It hurts only yourself. Right? And it's gonna hold yourself back. By the way, everything that I'm saying now is a whole class in itself. I'm just giving you a crash course. And okay. So now this is also what the pasuk says. Here's a source if you want to Kohelet chapter 10 verse 11. V'heser kas milvecha v'havira mibsarecha, which means is remove the anger from your heart and take away the evil from your flesh. You don't live life by being always angry. The angry people are petty people. They're not able to. They don't enjoy life. They're also okay. So let's move on. It's getting late. There's something I think the word is going flow or something like that. I have to look up not going with the flow. There's something else that going flow. There's a terminology in psychology, which means is that if you're doing something, do it 100%. Put all that you got into something. Yeah, so I think the terminology is flow, but I'm not 100% sure. So what does that mean? It says if you do something, don't do it halfway. There are many people. They play catch with their kids, right? While holding the phone and checking their emails, right? But they're out with their, spouse on a date. Oh yeah, one second. Yeah. Oh no, social media post. It was really good. I had to forward it, right? All these things if you want to enjoy something, put all you got into it. The more whatever it is, it could be exercise, it could be learning, it could be, somebody going and studying. Let's say you're coming to a class, right? I know it's very hard to stay focused throughout an entire class, right? So sometimes, there's a little fly, and you think about the fly, and then you think about the last time you saw a fly, so you're back in Hawaii, and then forget about it, then you're in Neverland, right? It's very hard to keep focused. But if you want to enjoy something, do everything 100%. Put all you got into everything that you do, you'll just have extreme happiness in it. Try it. It's unbelievable that you just enjoy everything, even if something you don't really enjoy that much. You go to the gym, you don't really, you're tired, you don't want to go run on the treadmill, right? Then how do you feel afterwards, after your workout? Usually, I shouldn't have gone. It didn't make a difference. But if you go and give it all you got, all of a sudden, that was a great workout. It was awesome. You'll enjoy life better when you give everything all you got. Now, the next thing is to act happy. Even if you're not happy, act it. Pretend to be happy. Put a smile on your face. It's gonna,
That's how you make it.
Yeah, thank you. So this is like it's I think it's psychology or whatever that they tell you to do that. This actually was the Ramchal wrote a few hundred years ago. Already wrote in one of his books called Misalat Yesharim, chapter 7. He writes that an external act of enthusiasm has an effect on our inner feelings. Right? By you acting happy, you'll make yourself happy. Right? I'm not saying if you're depressed or whatever, something bad happened, and you start laughing hysterically like a hyena. Right? You smile. Let's say you had a bad day, and you're going home, and you're just someone's gonna get it. Someone is gonna get it. Right? And the second you open the door, you take a little smile, and that's it. Already and even better is if let's say you're really angry, say to yourself, I'm a little annoyed. Right? By saying to yourself, I'm a little annoyed, even you're furious. By just saying that, you're already gonna shoot down that anger meter very, very low. So
we learned in another class that just the act of physically expanding promotes happiness and like
expanding as in like
so,
stretching?
Stretching
Oh, really?
or smiling is also
Right.
an act of physically expanding. So just if you're totally upset, if you just smile through it, it'll like reverse your mood. Or
That's
also,
and the other way around. If you curl up,
yeah,
is like
if you, so like
there's a science on how people sleep. Also, there are people that sleep in the fetal position.
I think
That-
you said this.
I don't think I spoke.
Rather
Oh, did I
than
speak about
say-
that? I didn't
Oh,
speak
you're
about it.
right.
There are some people that sleep like this. Usually kids.
Yeah.
How do kids sleep?
Yeah.
Like this.
and that's
Everything,
like
yeah.
saying, if you wake up in the
Ankles.
morning and you do this, you're probably gonna have a better
Better.
day.
Interesting. Yeah, so that does make sense.
It goes because it goes with your hormones and stuff like that. So when you're going like this, it releases endorphins and stuff like that. So it
Right.
makes you happy.
It's interesting because there's language and there's body language, right? Everybody who speaks in public needs to know body language, right? Because you have to know when the person they might look like they're paying attention, but if they do certain things, if they're this or if they, if they're everything is closed or they're they'll keep on looking at the
door.
or looking at the door, looking at their watch, checking their phone too often. So you would know when you have things that it's time to wrap things up or switch topics or whatever it is to get So there's a lot of things that might not be doing it consciously, just subconsciously. They're just doing it. So
the story of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, when Aspasianus heard the news, he couldn't get his shoe on.
yeah.
So Simcha.
It was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai.
Yeah. What did I say?
That's what he said?
think
I thought he
so.
said something else.
So,
okay. I don't know why I heard Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai.
Simcha,
Now I
joy-
realize, no, you said the right one. Yeah.
Joy expands you.
That's true.
It is in itself something that
That's true.
expands.
This is something extremely, extremely important in the next one. And we'll finish soon if you guys don't mind. I'll have to skip some things. Okay. So the next thing is for happiness is don't compare yourself to other people. By you comparing yourself to other people, you just bring yourself down. It's only room for failure. This is also a problem with, and this also answers why nowadays so many people are depressed. Is nowadays the media out there, we have movies, TV shows that are the average person. How many hours a day do you think they watch? They sit in front of the TV.
Fights.
The second they come home, even if they're not, the TV is on. Right? They need to have something. They can't be with themselves on the thoughts, God forbid, right? They're watching TV, they have TV dinners, they're watching movies, they're going out to movies. Their whole life, they're in the TV. Now, what's TV, what's movies? TV and movies, and here's easier to explain, you could agree or disagree. This is interesting to find out. I don't know if I spoke about it here, but why do girls like when there is a pretty lead role actress in a movie? Like, I understand why a guy wants it. Like, there's a pretty woman in the movie. But this is what I've heard, and I may be wrong, that girls like when they're pretty, the women in the movie are pretty. Right? Now, why is that? Why do they care? Like, what does it make so much of a difference? And I'll take it a step further, and that's how I'll answer it.
Everybody just prefers beauty.
It's pleasing to the eye. Easy to look at. Doesn't hurt my eyes when I look at it.
It's true. It's true.
So, I think it could be one of the reasons. I think it's a little bit more.
They identify with
Also,
her.
role model.
Very good, very good,
Identifying
very
with
good,
her,
excellent.
they're-
So, and I'll explain that. This is why that if you go, let's say after you ever drive past by a movie theater, and after let's say there was a action movie that was being played, what do you see everybody doing outside? Everybody's Jackie Chan. Everyone's doing kung fu all of a sudden. They saw a parkour movie. They're running off the walls. These people, right? You have this person at 500 pounds. He's like running, and and this guy is speaking like Chris Tucker. This guy's speaking like Jackie Chan, and the whole movie is played out there, right? God forbid, what happens if they watch a movie like the car ones, Fast and Furious? You know how many accidents happen after that? All of a sudden, everyone's changing gears, but they don't even have gears. They're everybody. So what is movies? Movies, you're in the movie.
Right.
When you're watching a movie, and this is why I may be wrong. subconsciously, you see a pretty girl, you're playing that part. You're there. Why you're scared? Why you're happy? You're in that movie. You're so invested. You're emotionally invested. Why do you cry? Why are you happy? Why? Because it's you. A guy, right? Why are Marvel comics make so much money on these superhero movies? Because guys need to feel like they saved the world, right? Meanwhile, they can't lift 20 pounds without screaming and hurting their back. But in their mind, they're doing flips and they're fighting bad guys and because they're acting it. They are the movie. They are in that movie.
So that's the thing with sports, with men sitting around and watching sports all the time.
Yeah, sports is another whole. Sports is I have a whole lot to speak about sports. Neither do I. But this is why you find a guy that learns Torah.
Yes.
Not some guy that sits and screams at a screen, right? So so going back what happens is that when someone watches a movie, they're escaping from the real life. They're going into this fantasy life that they're going into, and there's a reason why people are watching 4, 5, 6 hours a day. They go to sleep so late. Why? Either they're on social media or they have to catch up on their favorite shows, right? Their favorite shows. This is my show, right? I own it. This is me because I'm in it, right? Subconsciously. So you have all these things that you're playing in it. You're in this, and then what happens when the movie's over? All of a sudden, lights click on, right? Oh, reality. Oh man, and so you fight a little bit, and you do, you look where the dress wore that you wore, or whatever it is that you're the shoes, or whatever it is that you. Again, I'm speaking blindly, so I'm way off. But you go, and then suddenly you get into your real life, and then you're like, my life is not as exciting as James Bond. This is not as fun. I want to drive and whatever a $1,000 Aston Martin or whichever those things cost. So when you're living in this media world and you're coming out, it's only going to make you more depressed. The more that people think, okay, I'm so sad, let me watch a comedy. A romantic comedy, right? They sit and they watch a romantic, get the ice cream, get the blanket, and get the tissues, right? And then you're going to go and then transform into Happy Land for 2 hours. And then what happens when you get out of that Happy Land? Not only right back to where you were before, even worse where you were before, but look how happy they were. So why can't I, Van Gogh? Whatever it is that they spill to you nowadays in the movies, right? All these things, why? Because you were there and now you're not. It causes depression. It causes sadness. It might not cause clinical depression. You might not be bedbound, but you feel down. You feel okay. Subconsciously, you might not even think about it. So nowadays, what was the difference between nowadays and 50 years ago? Because nowadays, we didn't have as much as movies and things that we have, to availability. Forget about social media. Social media. People go look on social media. Social media, what do people post on social media? They'll take 7,000 pictures of their food, in the perfect lighting to post it on. They're like, wow, it looks delicious. I wish I could eat that. Meanwhile, that has like 17 filters. It's whitewashed and who knows whatever things are going on in there. Now, I know people that download programs just for the filters. Applications, right?
Yeah.
All just for the filters. Why? So they do that and they post it online. What's the point of? They take a picture of themselves and it takes off any blemish and adds here, put a mustache, whatever you want. It can do everything, and you post it on social media. Now, why do you do that for? Everybody looks at that and they say, wow, look at that person's life.
Exactly.
They're going out 3 times a week, right? Meanwhile, they took pictures of the same table, just 3 different dishes that they had. They posted it in like different, variants. Oh, hubby's taking me out again. What can I do? Meanwhile, people are sitting at home and they can't. Their husband can't take them out or whatever it is, and they're depressed. Why are they depressed? Because they're looking at everybody else. They're looking at everybody else, and what everybody else present? The best possible fake life that they don't even have themselves. Yeah. Right? Here's the thing. For guys, it's always like that. You see a nice car. They'll ask the person if they can just take a picture inside it. But my new wheels. Yeah. Or test drive it and take a picture of it.
I know people who use 3 different apps just to edit one picture, and then they post on Instagram. Literally, they have a multitude of different apps, and they
work
edit
hard
on
for it.
one, and then transfer it into the next app and edit it more on that one. It's insane.
It's becoming I don't understand it.
I have friends that spend an hour just making cool pictures.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked. And what is that for? It's not for you. And how many likes you're gonna get? Oh, even better. How many thumbs up or whatever it is now? How many hearts? Whatever. All these things. You saw how many people are jealous of me? I saw 500. I told you this dress was worth it. Right? What do people do? For what? For what? And it doesn't. Not only, it's a very, very bad, and I always speak about it. Social media is a terrible thing. I think it's a terrible thing. It doesn't bring you socially close together. Well, I want to speak to my friend from Australia. Oh, I have a friend from Australia, and I can speak to him just fine without social. I don't have social media, and I can speak to him just fine, right? there are people that use excuses. There's absolutely no need for it. Forget about the hours that you spend on it till 2 a.m. and then you can't live a normal life because you're stalking everybody else. You saw where they went. Look at, they go through the entire life. You know everything about them more than the mother knows about them. Okay, so let's move on because it's getting late. So we have a few more minutes. I'm going to try to finish up. Okay, so so the idea is don't compare to anybody else. You want happiness? You want it? First of all, stop watching movies. That would help also. Stop watching TV. Besides wasting all your time. Probably the point of time when I changed my part of my life around, the hardest thing to do was stopping to watch movies. I was a huge movie buff. Like everything that came out, I saw.
So
I saw.
hard.
And it was probably one of the hard. But you know what happens when I stop? You have so much time on your hands. You could accomplish so much. You don't even know how many hours are in a day, right? You don't even realize how much you could accomplish in life. You'll gain so much. So this is also why. So stop looking at everybody else. Focus on yourself. Be happy with what you have, right? Who is rich? Who is wise? Who is happy? Somebody who is happy with what he has. Be grateful and appreciate for what you have. Okay. So next, this really should have been the first one. Before that, I have to even one more thing I have to say on that. It came to, I found this out recently, that there are certain magazines that they would put fake news on celebrity gossip. I remember one time I was sitting online on like Reddit or something, and they had like, I forgot, they told me what the star or some fake, whatever, I can't even remember the name, and they have like big Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt getting divorced. I'll be like, oh wow, I didn't know they're getting divorced. And they're like, what are you talking about getting divorced? They're not getting divorced. I'm like, oh, they have like this girl gained 400 pounds, this person is getting divorced, this person got kicked out of, acting because then he crashed and he died, and all these things are completely fake.
That's true.
Is that, there's something like that that exists, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It happens.
Okay, so now why does that exist? Why do people enjoy, they know that it's fake, but they'll read it. Why would they read it? Because it makes them feel better that somebody else is having a worse life than them. Why? Because all their life they're comparing to other people. Now when somebody else falls, they suddenly feel better about themselves. And this is their emotional ego boost. They'll be like, oh, okay, it's not so bad, Whatever it is, also just had a divorce, or also this person also just lost all their money, or this person, they're happy. And it's a very terrible trait, right? I don't know if I mentioned over here, I mentioned it in other places. Unfortunately, you hear some bad news, right? Some people, you could see the smile on their face, right? Like, oh, you heard this couple got divorced. What? What do you mean he got divorced? When did this happen? They have to control it. They're like, scene.
No, but I laugh when I get uncomfortable, so.
Yeah, so that's something else. But I'm also like that.
I laugh everything.
Not I laugh, I'll crack jokes, so I'm dangerous in weird situations. So but there's a difference. There's a difference when you see some joy in the eye. That little twinkle. Somebody just going through a terrible time. Why are you happy? Why are you smiling? And you'd be surprised how many, like, I overhear conversations. I don't look at what's going, I look at the other person receiving it. I want to see his face, or her, or whatever the face is, right? I want to see how they accept it. And you see so many people, they're a little happy when God, it's a shame. It's also subconsciously. It's not so much that they could do it. But why does this come from? Why are they? Because they compare their lives to everybody else. And when the other person is going down, they feel suddenly better about themselves. That's not your way to happiness. Your way to happiness is not to read all these tabloids and then slowly boost yourself up. It's stop worrying about them. Focus on yourself. Be happy with what you have. Be happy who you are, and you'll gain happiness. Okay, so it's a shame. I really have a few more, and it's getting late, and I don't like to go. Okay, let's try another 5 minutes, and then we'll wrap it up, and we'll see how far we get up to. So the probably one of the most important things in happiness is attaching to spirituality. Now there is they made, by the way, studies on this. Let's say I'm not talking about Judaism. Spirituality could be Christian, Islam. Forget it. If you attach yourself to a higher power, you're a happier person because you feel that there's a purpose, and if something doesn't go your way, so you feel there was a reason for it. Now, if you go like, they made a study for like atheist people that don't believe in God and people that, do believe in God or whatever it is, and they realize that the people that believe in God or higher power are happier people in general. They're happier. You look at somebody who lost a job, right? They could be non-religious, the whole, praise the Lord has provided, is going to provide, and they're all some pastors, right? I've spoken to Christians that they lost their jobs. They become all pastors, right? they start singing. They're in the and the God has a better plan for me, a bigger plan for me. Right? Then you have the atheist in the corner that's banging his head against the wall, ripping his hair out, doesn't know how he's going to pay the next bills. These people, well, whatever, God will take care of it. Right? They're praying to fake God, but it's fine. Whatever, it makes them happy in their own world. But the idea is if you connect yourself to spirituality, if you connect yourself to God, you are going to be so much. You're going to be happier more than anything else. Anything that I just said right now, if you do this one, you're going to be extremely happier. And I'm talking about not superficially being Jewish, inside being Jewish, being Jewish inside, believing in God, believing in everything, and it would just make you. It will make you a happier person. They made this is another recent Gallup survey that. They did a survey of 124 countries based on the level of happiness. Israel came out 7 out of 124. Now you think, okay, well 7 is pretty good, but why not number 1? And I personally think is, who do you think they asked? Are you happy? Probably the people that are walking to the beach. They didn't ask the people that are sitting and learning Torah all day, right? They didn't go and knock on their doors and be like, with the 17 kids and be like, are you happy? But what? You want to do dishes? What are you talking about happy? They don't ask those people. They ask the people, and they still came up number 7. At 124 countries, Israel came up to the number 7.
Despite what they're living with.
Despite everything.
Which means they're more like number 1 or 2.
And I guarantee you, so when I was in Israel, about 6 months ago, so I was in a very, very religious community. I stayed for a few weeks. And the Yerushalayim. So this is not allowed. A cell phone is with a screen that's internet, it has to be kosher cell phones. They have stamps on it that's kosher, right? They don't have texting. They don't have internet. There's no pictures. It's just old-fashioned cell phone, right? So I had this. I should have gotten the looks I got. And I'm sitting there like an American, walking the street, checking my emails and doing whatever I need to do. And after a few days, I realized that nobody else is doing that. So I stop and I start looking at what other people are doing. And this is the first place that I've ever went to that I've seen people look around and enjoy life. They're not on their cell phones because there's nothing to be on them. Maybe they can play that snake game, right? Or that's as far as they could go. They're not doing anything but enjoying life. They're looking over there. You look at the little kids over there, right? The little kids in the community that I had were not that I stayed by was not something that was they have Xbox, PlayStation, and all the video games and things like that, right? They play with tires because that's what they found and that's what they play with. And you know what? These kids are a lot happier than the fat Americans that we had sitting in front of their Xbox and playing video games all day, So this is not materialism that you seek happiness. It's the internal thing. They were just happy with what they have. They were so happy they found a tire. You know how fun a tire is if you have a hill, right? And if you could get inside it, forget about it. So the idea is that people search for happiness outside. Happiness is internal. Happiness is inside. There is something also very important, and is that unfortunately people are pessimistic. In order to be happy, be optimistic. They're like, no, I can't go. It's for sure nothing's good. This is not going to happen. This is not going to happen.
Someone's nature from pessimism.
Nobody can change anybody else except for that person themselves.
No, but how do they do that? What's the course of action?
Start believing in yourself, faking yourself out till you believe. Tell yourself, yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Yeah,
And eventually, you know how many people don't go on dates because they don't want to fall in love because they're afraid of falling out of love, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
How are you living life that way? They'll go jumping out of a plane because you only live once, right? But falling in love, this is going to get hurt too much. I can't deal with that. I know it's people that date for many years. They get burnt out and they can't do it anymore. I'm saying, but it's worth it. It's worth to fall in love. It's worth all the hardship that it comes to get to that. It's worth it. Just people don't go for it. Why? Pessimistic. You have to be optimistic in life. So there was once a little girl. What?
I'm afraid of what people think.
Or that also. That's true also. But everything is external. You have to, it's also with self-esteem. You increase the self-esteem. You don't care about everybody. There's certain people that always think that other people are talking about them. If they speak another language, if they speak about another language, forget about it. They think that, that what do they say? They're talking about me, right? What are they, they're talking about me. So
when I'm walking, someone's laughing. I just think.
Yeah. By the way, there are many people like that. You don't know how many people I speak to that are like that. And
Everyone says like that.
yeah, so
Always.
First of all, is what you have to understand, and this is what I tell all the people. I'm going to say it straightforward, but people are very into themselves. They don't care so much about you or other person, right? Everybody thinks that they're speaking in, so they're speaking in Hebrew or German or whatever it is, they're speaking about me. Be like, people are too self-involved in themselves to worry about you. You could have a big stain everywhere, right? And you could, whatever it is that your problem is, and you're walking, you're self-conscious, they'll look at you for a second, for a minute, they might think about something, but then they're back in their own problems. right? If you think people are too self-involved in themselves to worry about anybody else, nobody even bothers, you know. So always people think that everybody else is, and you don't know how many people I speak to like that. So many people, right? But it's also, if you increase your self-esteem, it's also gonna help that. So now there was once a little girl who had 2 apples, and she was holding the 2 apples, smiling. She got 2 apples. Yeah, back then when, you know, before they liked candy, they're holding 2 apples, very happy. And she's looking at them. She's about to eat one, and her mother says, she goes to the daughter and says, "Can you give mommy one of the apples?" So the daughter freezes for a second, and she looks at her mother, and she thinks, and she takes a bite out of one apple, and she quickly takes a bite out of another apple. And the mother's like, you know, she's like, "Oh, this girl, she's gonna get it." And then she's like, "Here, mommy, take this one. This one's sweeter." Right? There's so many times that we think that everybody's going after us. Everyone's. People are good, and inside people are very good. People want to do good. God especially wants to do good, and things happen in life that we think like, why is they biting both my apples? And you don't realize that what they're really doing is they're just tasting which apple is better, and then they're going to give you the better one. Right? People think that if you have faith in God, if you have an appreciation of God, you know that everything that He does is for the best. And if you realize if something didn't look that good, it really is that good. You just don't see it yet. God is tasting that apple to make sure that apple is not poisonous, and it's not whatever it is, and it's giving it to you. So, let's go really fast now, and we'll finish up in 2 minutes in a minute. So, the next thing is exercise. Exercise is very important. I don't have the time to go into it, but when you exercise, you release endorphins. You release positive endorphins. They made studies about this, that if somebody was taking antidepressant and they did exercise, they were higher than people that just took antidepressant. Then they did additional thing that somebody that was depressed but didn't take any antidepressant, just exercise, and they were on the same level as out of the depression as a person that was depressed and did exercise. And the reason is because when you take antidepressant medication, the pill made you feel better. When you exercise, you made yourself feel better, right? So it's also exercise is very, very important. Additionally, is complete something. Have goals for yourself. If you complete something, you finish, you feel good about yourself. You feel good about yourself, you'll be happier about yourself. Also increase your self-esteem. Next thing is your vocabulary. If you are always, this and this and this and this, even though you don't mean it, how was your day? It was alright, it was okay. No, say my day was amazing. It was unbelievable, I had the best day. Right? You'll start believing that once you start saying that. Now, we'll finish with this thought, is that the people usually feel like this is life, that's it. I can't change. This is how it is, and this is how it's going to be. This is how God made it, I can't change. And they think that they mistakenly think that I'm going to be miserable for the rest of my life. And that's all that's going to be. So there was once a marine biologist that was doing research. And his research was, he took a shark and he put it in a huge aquarium. And then he took a bunch of fish that are a lot smaller that he eats in the same aquarium. Right? So what happened? The second the shark saw the fish, it gobbled them up. And, so he did it. The scientist then took the shark and put him on one side of the tank, and then put a fiberglass divider inside, so it was glass that you could see through. And then he put the fish back, a new batch of fish in the other half. And the second the shark saw the fish, it started rushing to try to eat the fish, but it hit the fiberglass. And it tried viciously. It tried a few times, tried from different angles, and for like an hour, it kept on trying to get the fish. And eventually, it stopped. And they took the fish out. And they tried a short while later, they put the fish back in. And when they put the fish back in, again, the shark kept on coming. And when they saw that he couldn't, after like a half hour this time, he stopped. And every time they did this, it took shorter and shorter time till the shark realized that he's not, he can't get the fish. And eventually, they put the fish in there, and they saw the shark didn't even bother. So what they did was they took the fiberglass out. They took the fiberglass out, and now the shark is swimming together with the other fish. But the shark didn't eat the other fish because he thought he can't eat it. There are many people that they live their life because they think I can't live a happy life. I can't live life any better. This is it, and this is all I have. And they're very mistaken. The happiness in life is all depending on you, and you could change anything. No matter what situation you are in your life, no matter how far you've fallen, no matter how depressed you've been, there is always hope, and you can always do it as long as you believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody's going to believe in you. Any questions? All right. Good.